One, two, three, four.
Well, hello again to my beautiful listeners, and welcome to Skylight. This is the Skylight Books podcast, and I'm your host, Lance Morgan. Today, we have a special Handsell episode for you guys. But before we get into it, I just want to remind you that Skylight is now open. So please come on by, check our social media for our current social distancing mandates and what's happening there. But yeah, please come on by. And we also are still available for online ordering and curbside pickup. So please order on our website, www.skylightbooks.com. Well, today I'm so excited to introduce Kelsey Norris, who's a content marketing manager at Libro FM. Libro FM is an audiobook service that makes it possible for you to buy audiobooks through your local bookstore, like Skylight. Whether you're paying for monthly memberships, giving an audiobook gift to a friend, or buying audiobooks for your organization, Libro FM splits the profits from your purchases with your local bookstore. Libro FM began as a conversation over beers at a local bookstore in Seattle, and since then, they've grown their community to include 9,000 plus booksellers from over 1,400 bookstores and listeners from all over the world. Kelsey has been working there for the last year and has so graciously agreed to come on our podcast for a Handsell episode, as she is such a big person in the audiobook world right now. So thank you. I mean, listen, Libra, you're there, you're on the top. So welcome, Kelsey. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
No problem. And shout out to our bookseller, Hallie, who is a mutual friend of both of ours and a Skylight bookseller.
Hey, Hallie.
She'll love that. She'll be so happy for that shout out. So yeah, Kelsey. So please could you please explain your role at Libro FM to us, so listeners have a little background about your work there?
Yeah, sure. Happy to. So I started at Libro, as you said, about a year ago. So in response to, the difficulty that many booksellers were facing due to the pandemic and the events of 2020, Libro hired 11 unemployed or underemployed booksellers on a part-time basis to work for 2 months. And I was one of those booksellers. I was a bookseller here in DC. So I worked for Libro for that 2-month span. And then afterwards, I extended my contract. And, the rest is history. Actually, it's only 1 year, so it's like a very brief history, but, and I work on
this past year, it's like 10 years, so that's history.
I know. It's like, what is time? It's slipping away. I never have a great grasp, but especially not lately. Yeah. But so I'm our content marketing manager. So basically, I manage our blog content where we have author interviews, we have bookstore features, we have quizzes to help people find audiobooks, and we also host all of our recommendations. A lot of them come through there. And then I also manage our email content. And then I also get to import all of our bookseller recommendations. So a facet of Libro FM is that the books that are recommended all come from booksellers at our partner stores. And, my favorite part of being a bookseller was that I just got to talk about books and talk about my favorite books, and with people who were equally stoked about their favorite books or equally as likely to read my favorites. So that's been something I've really loved, is feeling like I'm still part of that conversation by seeing which books and audiobooks booksellers are into. And audiobooks, before I came to Libro FM, I was not a big listener of audiobooks, and I'm gradually adding more on and learning more about what makes audiobooks great. And so many of those recommendations talk about like narration and like having dynamic voices throughout. And so I'm in.
That's so, like, to come from, and what bookstore were you working at before as a bookseller?
I worked at Best Boys and Poets.
Best Boys and Poets. I've heard, I feel like that's one of the big three in DC, right? Because DC
is lucky in that it has a ton of bookstores. There are bookstores in most neighborhoods. There's Capitol Hill Books, which is like new and used, and there's a ton. So
I mean, DC's must be a fun city as a bookseller to live in.
There's a lot of great authors that come through too for great events, and here we are with virtual living now, but that's also been good because there's like Loyalty puts together a great reading series. They have really strong guests come through, really great conversations, so I've been stoked about following along with some of those.
That's the way bookstores have transitioned to like be virtual this past year is just like, it shows the adaptability of like spaces like this where we're able to have, this podcast has evolved so amazingly over the past year. It's been like a pleasure to work on that. And it's just like, it's amazing to see something so, like bookstores and Libro Femme, I feel like is a big part of this too. Bookstores have been battling for their lives, in the past like 10 years, 20 years with like the the like buying books online, the Big A, I won't mention their name right now, the Big A, who one of their boss might be shooting into space any day now. Could be. Goodbye. Like, I'll be waiting on the ground. But like with that and like, but I feel like there's been a lot against bookstores and then you see something like Libro Femme, which is trying to help bookstores, give them these tools.
Partnering with our local bookstores is like at the center of everything that we're doing. It's always the thing that we're trying to think about first, and then building the rest of our programming or tech around that element. And 2020 was awful for a lot of reasons and a lot of people and a lot of things, but audiobooks did see quite a bit of growth, and we saw quite a bit of growth, which is interesting because I think a lot of people were listening to audiobooks during their commutes, and then their commutes sort of disappeared. But we saw a big swell in 2020 of members. I think we saw 202% increase in monthly members. We saw 48% growth in bookstore partnerships, and the increase in the amount that we paid to local bookstores was 398%. So it was a big swell. And I think a huge amount of that was people wanting to support their local bookstores, right? Like the bookstore piece was at the center of that. I think people are learning to listen to audiobooks, when they need a break from screen time. That's big, right? Like it's hard to switch straight from your computer monitor at work to your TV monitor at home. And so it's nice to be able to get some stories and input while you're out on a walk. I listen to a lot of audiobook content when I'm out walking my dog. So, and
that's, the perfect place to go listen to an audiobook. Everyone who's listening, who's walking their dog right now, and I'm joking, don't end this podcast, can finish this podcast and then download Libro FM and listen to your dog who wants this. I know your dog wants this.
They told us, yeah. Like a walk is about the length of a chapter, and especially I'm really into it when it's an audiobook that has multiple narrators, right? Because then you get to like spend a walk with one narrator, and then you hop into the next one on and it's good motivation to get outside,
Exactly. And the weather's getting better.
It's showing out for us a little bit. Yeah.
And I hope it stays that way. Who knows, it might snow in a week. I hope not. But it's getting better.
Oh, sorry. Oh God, I ran right over you.
No, you're fine. You're good. No, I was just saying, like, this is beach time too. Who doesn't want to listen to an audiobook on the beach?
I don't. I went to a writing retreat not that long ago that was like out in a rural spot and didn't have any streaming, which I didn't realize until I got there. There was very low internet connectivity, but luckily I had started listening to Tomi Adeyemi's Children of Blood and Bone on the drive there, and I was hooked. I didn't know that audiobooks could be like TV, but that was that. And it's narrated by Bonnie Turpin, who's a great narrator. She's like one of our star narrators. People love her. And it was great. And it was one of those where it was like, each chapter was a new narrator. And it was like, I would get a little blip while I was eating, while I was trying to fall asleep, when I was sitting out, on the porch. And
I remember my audiobook experience. The one that I remember because it was the one that I was for was John's Guide to Vice and Virtue. And I was just on a long drive listening to this, and I was hooked. I was like, I wasn't driving through Florida, and I was like, oh wow, this is the trip passed by because it just like I got hooked into this audiobook, and it was
Mhm.
like TV. It was like, I mean, and that's how I compare everything in my life to TV. If
Yep.
it hits that TV mark,
True. I'm with
and,
you. Two that I
so,
wish I had listened to on audio that I didn't is
mhm,
but I think I'll circle back and listen to them eventually is
okay,
Clint Smith just put one out called How the Word Is Passed, and I got
okay,
a physical arc of that one, but he narrates
mhm,
the audiobook and did this whole like he like put some pictures up on Twitter and a thread of him
mhm,
recording it, and I bet it's great in his voice because it's like him going to various sites, right, and
mhm,
like that have to do with slavery in the history of America
mhm.
or elsewhere, and it's just like him talking about those experiences, so I'm sure it's
Wow.
great in his narration. And then Wandering in Strange Lands, which is by either Morgan Jerkins or Morgan Jenkins.
I think it's Morgan Jerkins. I think
Morgan
it's,
Jerkins, all right,
yeah.
solid, right? But that's this a similar sort of like journey, like she's discovering
Mhm,
her like own family at the same time that she's looking through history. But
mhm.
I'm like mad at myself that I didn't listen to those on audio, and I'm gonna
Right.
circle back.
And I mean, like I feel like that's what I love about, that's how I can listen to audiobooks, because I have terrible attention spans where and I feel bad because I'm listening to an audiobook and then I have to rewind it because I was dazing. I was like looking at a bird outside and I
Mm-hmm.
lost attention for 20 minutes. But I feel like if it's a book that I've already read and I want to listen to it, it's a new experience. But then if I miss like three words, I'm like, oh, I know what they were saying before because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know what's happening in the book there. And it
Right.
makes for a great listening experience, I think.
Yeah.
And like I'm a person who loves to reread, especially. So this is a new way to reread for
Like
people
old
who
friends just
like
coming
old
right back.
friends.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Go, and I mean, like, one thing about Libro is I feel like a lot of people don't know one about it at all, which is still
We're
like, it's
working on it.
crazy. And I'm doing what I can on the ground floor. I'm like, have you heard of Libro? Whenever anyone's like, oh, I love audiobooks on Libro FM, where I'll like be across the store, I'll be like running over, like, have you heard of Libro FM? I
Mhm.
feel like I'm like a pusher for you guys.
Right.
I love it. I will keep doing it.
Thank you.
No problem. But like another thing, I feel like people think that Libro has a limited catalog of stuff, but you guys have a great catalog. You guys have like most books you'd find on other services, you can find
Mm-hmm.
on Libro FM, right?
It's true. It's true. I think our catalog is 200K plus. I'll double check that. But
Mm-hmm.
um, basically, the only audiobooks that we don't carry are ones that are Audible exclusives, which
Yeah,
have their own issues for accessibility
yeah.
and who can get to them, because that means neither bookstores can
Mm-hmm.
sell them, and libraries also can't lend them out, right? So
Right.
that's always a bummer when like a beloved audiobook or a somebody whose book is going to be huge decides to make it exclusive. But other than
And
that, we
like
have those audiobooks.
it's like who gatekeeps? And this is me. This is, I'll say this, my own belief in it, but it's also like, the independent bookstore belief, I believe, that
Right.
it's who wants to gatekeep books? Books are supposed to be for everyone, the freedom of information, but then you see like a space like that who's definitely monetizing it. And like Libro, one thing about Libro is I feel like you guys put your values out there for everyone to see, which is, oh, we want to help the independent bookstore space. We are
Mm-hmm.
here to service the independent booksellers, the independent bookstores, and make an audiobook space specifically for them. And it's amazing. And you guys, and can you talk about you guys splitting profits with independent
Yeah.
bookstores?
Yeah, sure. So we, like you said, we always sort of center bookstores and what we're doing. We do our
Mhm,
best to not only like make campaigns that center those bookstores, but to also ask bookstores before assuming
mhm,
what's going to be the most helpful thing for them. Yeah, so we split profits with local bookstores, 50-50 for every
mhm,
purchase. Um, like you said, there are more than 9,000 booksellers, 1,400 partner bookstores,
mhm,
and listeners can support those bookstores either with memberships, which is one
mhm,
audiobook credit per month and 30% off all additional purchases, and that's $14.99 a month. There's also a la carte purchasing if you're not ready to commit to memberships. And
mhm,
those profits also get split with the bookstore of your choosing.
mhm,
And then there are also gift memberships that you can purchase for yourself if you want a bunch of audiobook credits up front, or for
right.
others. And those purchases also split. So
I mean, one of my favorite thank you gifts to give to people is Libro FM credit, because I feel like it gets people knowing about Libro FM. I mean, I sent it to someone, they're like, what? Independent bookstores have, they're like, I get Audible because I did not know that this was an option for the independent bookstores. So yeah, so if you're listening, that's a good gift. Who doesn't, it's affordable. It's something that everyone will love. And it's something that if you buy a book on Libro FM, that's your book, right? That's like something it's not like it's going to ever be taken away from you. It's your book to own. So that's, I mean, you're giving a book to someone, and you're supporting your independent bookstore at the same time.
Yeah,
and you can. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say there are benefits to, like you're saying, there are benefits to using Libro FM over Audible, other than just the feel good factor, right? Which is, like you said, you own your audiobooks. All your downloads are DRM free. So if you're a member with us, or you buy your book a la carte and then you decide to cancel your membership, the audiobook is still yours. You have it. Yeah.
And it's also like great because you can support your individual independent bookstore too on there, right? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, there are. So we have those 1,400 partner bookstores. We're always adding more. So if you go to Libro.fm/indies, you'll see our list there. You can just search for the bookstore that you want to associate your account with, and then you can set it. And you can leave your association with that bookstore. You can also change your partnership as much as you want so that you can support multiple bookstores. We also have bulk purchasing options for companies that want to, buy audiobooks in bulk for their employees, and they want to support a local bookstore, so they can support one bookstore, they can support multiple bookstores. We have that program available.
You guys have any programs? Do you guys have any programs for schools and educators?
We have an ALC program. So that same ALC program that booksellers can be part of, where it's a selection of audiobooks every month. We have that same program for educators and librarians, where they can just go and sign up. And then we work with our publishing partners to curate a list of free audiobooks that they get at the start of every month. So all you have to do is sign up, and then the audiobooks will head to your inbox. I'll send you a reminder email. Don't forget to get those audiobooks while they're available. And then that's all it is.
And that's so I want my listeners to rewind and listen to that again. If you are an educator, you get free books through this independent audiobook service. How amazing is that? Educators, librarians, and people who are they're out there, it's just so amazing to see a space. And I've said this before in previous podcasts, educators deserve every support they can get, and they're always so underlooked. So something like a program like you guys, and I'm going to make sure to tell, because I didn't know that myself, to all my teacher friends, hey, get these free audiobooks for your students, and can they share it with students? And
so the idea of this program, right, is that you're finding audiobooks to add to your classroom. So it's less about purchasing them in bulk. We do have, if there are educators or schools who are interested in bulk purchasing audiobooks for their classroom, they can always reach out to us, and I can get you that email address for content, for discount information and all of that. But this program is more for just being able to diversify your reading list, your students' reading lists, right?
That's amazing. And you guys cater? Do you guys what's not cater? What's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Curate. That's the word I'm looking for. Curate for different grade levels. I'm so sorry, but do you curate it for different grade levels? And, we do. Perfect. Oh my God.
We have multiple age. So in the educator ones, there will typically be ones for multiple grade levels, and also a couple of books that seem like the educator themselves, right, the teacher might want to listen to in their own time.
Perfect. That's amazing. You just talked a little bit about it. So you offer this also to booksellers. I'm saying it like I don't know, I don't also do this, but I want other booksellers who don't know about this to know.
Yeah, so we have the bookseller ALC program. To sign up, you just your admin can add you. as a bookseller, or you can just email us at bookstores@libro.fm with all the email accounts that are associated with Libro FM for your booksellers. And then, every month you get, in partnership with our publishing partners, we put together a list of hot new releases that are coming out that month. So that are coming out that month or in future months, right? So you might be able to pick up a pre-order that you'll be able to download, and we don't limit the amount that booksellers can pick up from that.
Wow.
So it's just a way to get more people listening to audiobooks, because it's a lot easier, as a bookseller, it's a lot easier to sell a book if you know what it's about and if you love it, so
to all my fellow booksellers, I looked at this month's. It's great. There's so many good picks. Rabbit was on there. The other Black Girl was on there. I just looked at it too, and it's already like, sign up for it. Look at the list. It's very easy to sign up. I did it in like 2 minutes, and it was, and you guys reached back to me in like even less time.
We moved quick.
They moved quick there, and you guys are a tiny team too.
We are.
Can you talk a little bit about your team there and like what you're doing behind the scenes? Yeah,
and so just like our bookstore partners, we're privately owned and operated. We intend to stay a small company who's like less focused on profits and more focused on investing back into the community and our partners and our bookstores. At the end of last year, we became a social purpose corporation, which basically is the first step in becoming a B corporation. But basically it means that we've declared, right, and we intend to do social good before maximizing profits, right? Like our intent is to do good, and then even if it maybe doesn't line up with our financial interests.
That's amazing.
Right. And so currently we're a team of 18 people. We're all fully remote across the US. But we're a small team, which is nice because it lets us be dynamic. It lets us, we build the business off of what our bookstore partners are asking for and what our listeners are asking for. So feedback from both is really important for building what Libro's future looks like, what its present looks like.
Right. And like to manage is maybe not like the correct term, but like to manage, what do we say, 9,000 plus booksellers and 1,400 bookstores and all of this through like 18 people. Oh my God, admirable.
It's a lot of everybody's wearing a lot of hats, and there's a lot of hat passing, right?
And fashionable hats. You guys look great in these hats because
great looking hats.
No, it's so amazing to see a small business like this do so much good and also put that good in the forefront of their mission too. Can you talk about the history of this? Like what, and I said a little bit, it was like over beers, but like what prompted this thinking? I'm guessing it was, if I had to make a guess before you said it, it was like just a bunch of booksellers, together saying, hey, what's wrong with the audiobooks that we're trying to push? It's all Amazon. Amazon has like just their hand. Oh, I said the word, damn.
Is that the hot word? We avoid it?
It's a hot word. No, I'm joking. We don't avoid it. I was like, it's the Voldemort of this.
That's true.
I know he'll get on this chat right now.
Nah, he's in space. He can't.
He's in space. He can't. He's gone.
Yeah.
He'll come back in 70 years probably. It's like with like superpowers or something. I don't know. So did I get any of that right?
Well, the beers, yes. Bookstore, yes. It was not a group of booksellers. So it started as a conversation amongst a group of friends, high school and college friends, at that bookstore, which was Third Place Books in Seattle. And they were talking about how audiobooks, that market was seeing growth and was going to continue to grow. But like you said, bookstores didn't have a way to participate in it really. And they needed a way to be able to compete with Amazon's Audible. Our co-founder and CEO, Mark Pearson, was a publisher at that time in the early 2010s, 2010s, not sure. But he either one of those works.
Yeah, either one.
But he knew that bookstores needed a solution, so they built it.
Oh my God. And the dedication to it too, I mean, shows. When did, how long did it take from like the inception of the idea to like actually getting out there? Because I
Well,
remember hearing about it in 2017 is when I first heard about Libro FM.
I mean, so that started in 2014, and we're 8 years past that point, right? And I think a lot of that time was spent making sure the product was stable, right? Like we didn't want to say, hey, bookstore partners, we've got the thing that's going to make the difference and allow you to sell audiobooks, and then give them a faulty product that didn't work or a platform that didn't work.
Right.
Because if you're going to compete, you need to be able to have a product, right? That works. People only want to do good for so long. They need something that works for them as well, you know? So the past year really was our biggest swell, and we gained new employees. We gained all those bookstore partners and customers and listeners, like I talked about. So that the past year has been a big expansion in not only what we're doing, but what we can do, right? Looking around and asking more of what would serve you, right? So an example is for Independent Bookstore Day this past year.
Right.
What is time?
I think it was the beginning of May?
April, maybe end of April.
End of April.
24th to 26th. That's what it was. Right. And we know that print sales are important for bookstores, and driving people to physically make those prints, or physically or virtually to make those print sales. We knew that that's important for bookstores.
Right.
So we had an offer where if people spent $15 or more at their local bookstore, or virtually, and sent us the receipt, they were able to select from a list of free audiobooks. So that gets more people listening, but also gets more people incentivized to go and support their bookstore.
And that just is so amazing that you guys did that to like get people into their books to like online. And I mean, like a big part of why I also the past year I've been sending them as gifts, because like I want people to be able to help their own bookstores, because I feel like people felt a loss of that. They couldn't go. They couldn't go. They're afraid to go out there, but they missed like reading books, or people who started reading books. A lot of people started reading books in the past year because they had the time to do it.
Right.
And so like it was a perfect thing to get those types of people into this book reading space through Libro FM. So I'm glad that an independent business like you guys were able to like help out during that time and do so much good. And then like, because I even remember in 2017, when I heard about you guys, I was working at another bookstore, and we partnered with Libro at that bookstore. And I just remember every bookseller there being like, wow, what is this? Because you know, booksellers love audiobooks too, but a lot of us only had Audible as an option, and felt bad about that, because we were like, we want to support the bookstores we're working at, but we didn't know where to go to. And then Libro FM came out, and we're all like, we're good. We're covered. We're never looking at Audible again. Like, save that library because I paid for those books, but like, I'll never buying another one again. And I mean, I know so many booksellers who haven't looked back and have felt so supported by Libro, and able to just like, you know, give so much of their own time as a bookseller and talking to customers to Libro, instead of the only one that was out there.
Right.
So
it's wild to me how many audiobooks some of our booksellers, I mean, some of anybody, but some of our booksellers consume a huge amount of audiobooks. And I know because I'm processing their recommendations, right? So I see like within a week, it'll be like 3 or 4 audio, because you can listen to audiobooks while you're doing other things, right? It doesn't require that. Like, I love reading. I love sitting down and holding a book in my hand, but that does sort of consume what you're able to do at that time, which is not the case with audiobooks, which is great.
I mean, like, you can wash your dishes, you can listen to them while you're cleaning, you can listen to them while you're driving safely, not like, you know, but like listen to them while you're driving, listen to them while you're on your bike, on your while you're at the gym, at the mall. Like, it's just, there's so many things you could be doing while listening to them.
That's true.
And like, yeah, it doesn't have the, it has the accessibility that, uh, and I'm a person who loves the hard copy of the book, but it has more accessibility than that.
Yeah,
And that's
it
just the
does.
more realistic of it. You should not be reading a hardcover or hard copy of a book while you're driving. I'm going to say that on
You
record.
shouldn't.
You
Yeah,
should not be.
don't do it. Yeah,
That is, I think it's illegal. I'm 90% sure it's
I'm pretty
legal.
sure if they caught
I'm
you,
pretty
you'd be
sure
in
it's
trouble.
safe.
Yeah, that accessibility component is important to us, right? We're really trying to push the idea. We strongly believe in the idea that listening to an audiobook is reading, right? Like the
Yeah,
same corners of your, I don't know if your brain
yeah,
has corners necessarily. I'm not a
sure.
doctor, but the same areas of your brain that are stimulated by reading are also stimulated by listening to an audiobook. It's still that imaginative space, that world building space. So they are reading, and for some people, for many people, they're more accessible than physical books.
And I mean, audiobooks have been around forever. Like I remember going to the library and getting the CDs, like 18 CDs for an audiobook, and having to play them in order and being like so annoyed by that because I was like, they're not in order anyways. But like you go on a big road trip, you go get those audiobooks. You're going, you're on a plane, you're listening to them on they've always been around. So
That's
for
true.
Libro FM to now give a new age to it, a new a new accessible 21st, is it still the 21st century, is it the 25th?
I don't know.
I don't know, it's
What
one
is
of those,
time?
but like a modern day Gen Z accessible, that's what I call the new things now, Gen Z accessible, but a thing to do. And you guys have, I know you're on desktop computers, you guys have a great app as well. Is there any other ways to, accessible for Apple and Google, or is it Google?
And Android,
Yeah,
yeah.
and Android, yeah.
The best listening experience is via our apps, either
Mhm.
on Android or on iOS. And we actually just released this past month a huge iOS update, which allows you to browse audiobooks and use credits within the app. So we had heard about that from booksellers requesting, right? Like, I'm trying to bring customers on, but they want to be able to do this on the app and currently can't. And then we also built that out just from direct feedback that we were getting from our listeners. And so now you can browse audiobooks. There's also playlists. We have playlists that we build, and then also our partner bookstores build. Those are more front and center. So it's a way to get sort of like a list of recommendations for audiobooks that are about, pride audiobooks, or that are, very niche. There's lots of different people making very exciting playlists, and those are now spotlighted better on the app. And there's also more highlighting for the bookstore that you're supporting. You can interact with that bookstore and see their page and their information more easily.
And this is probably a good time to announce for Skylight that we just created, I think, 4 new playlists with Libro FM right now, and we're so excited. We have a podcast one for all of our our authors that came on. We now have their audiobooks featured through Libro FM. We have one for our bestsellers. We have one for our events that we're having there. And a 4th one I can't remember right now, but look, that's a surprise, and that's because
you go explore it and you'll find it.
And it's a special surprise.
Yeah, but those are great features, which were before easy to find on the website, but harder to navigate on your app. So now it's easier to say, what does my local bookstore think I should be listening to? Boom, and you can find it quick.
And like, if you want to look, and it's an easy way. So if you like, we have our bestsellers always featured at our store, but if you want to see it from your homes, go on our website and go on Libro FM's website, or their app, and see what we have out there. And that's amazing. Do you guys have a lending service? Can you lend books to other people that you have?
We don't currently have a lending service. There's Libby, which I don't know if you can lend amongst. Libby is lending through the library. Right.
But Libby, you can do that. Yeah. Maybe support your local libraries and use Libby too. No, that's, everything you're telling me. And what does the future of Libro FM look like right now?
Yeah. So for right now, for our day-to-day and our future, right, we're growing, we're trying to serve our partners, and we're trying to do all of that intentionally. So like I said, we talked about, we just became a social purpose corporation. So that frees us up to do more philanthropic sort of initiatives. We're also making sure that we're promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion both internally, right, like as a team, and then also externally. So making sure that we're on track, but also that we're promoting audiobooks and promoting diversity within the book industry. So some examples of that are in May, we spotlit AAPI audiobooks we partnered with Joanna Belfer, who's the owner of Bel Canto Books in Long Beach, California. And she helped us put together a quiz for our listeners to take, right? Of like, choose your genre that you want to listen to, choose what kind from there. And then boom, we'll show you an audiobook that's exactly what you're looking for.
Wow.
And then we also highlighted AAPI owned bookstores across the US and Canada. This month, for Pride Month, where we have audiobooks by LGBTQIA+ authors, as well as a quiz to help you find them. And we have a queer-owned bookstores directory. And then for Juneteenth, we'll have picks, like audiobook picks recommendations from a couple of our Black-owned partner bookstores. Those will be featured on the page. And then we also have our Black-owned bookstore directory, which is our largest one. It's massive, and we're updating it constantly. And we're also doing a Black narrator spotlight. So
exciting.
Right. So we're trying to help people find audiobooks and then also read more diversely and pick up more perspectives, right? Like I think there was a push in 2020, right, to diversify reading. And I think that's important to do, not only with nonfiction, right? Like somebody telling you directly about their experiences, but you can learn about somebody else's experience through fiction and YA and like middle grade books, and any kind of book told from someone else's perspective can teach you about that perspective. So,
and that's, I mean, I am a big, I'm a big proponent. Is that the right word? I'm a big advocate. That's it.
I'll do your words. I got it.
Thank you for doing my words. Oh my God. Thank you. You're a personal thesaurus.
I don't know the words.
And I am so grateful for this. Thank you. No, I'm a big advocate for like, especially fiction, for like being able to like learn other experiences, and because I mean you're putting yourself in another world immediately through fiction to do this. So I mean this is a great way to do it too, like through all these audiobooks. And I mean booksellers are a fan. I can't tell you how many booksellers have given me so many good recommendations for books we should be reading about this, but like sometimes you can't. Booksellers aren't perfect. We're humans. And so Libro is just giving us a support to just, I go on Libro sometimes to see what books I should be reading, what books I should be telling people about too. So skip the step of coming to me.
Curated list. Yeah, we have those curated lists, and then we're pulling all those bookseller recommendations. So like, their booksellers are recommending bestsellers and things that are flying off the shelf, but also those ones that are sitting there and need more attention and need base outs, but don't have that maybe in an audiobook setup, right? And so it's a way, booksellers are great. They're the best
booksellers. Well, thank you. Booksellers are what make the world go round. No, and it's, to the booksellers too, please go on Libro FM, and any book that you loved, even if you read it hard copy, just promote it on Libro, because you guys do such a great job in a way that I don't see a lot of other spaces of promoting bookseller voices, of saying, hey, if you're a bookseller and you give us your rec, we will feature it on our site.
Right. And we don't, that's the aim, right? Because we don't, what we don't want is an impersonal algorithm that can get thrown off from whatever, right? Like trolls or just like one bad review, like burning the book's chances. And so we know that booksellers are central, right, to being able to boost those books up. So they're so you just go to your bookseller hub, and then you'll see a button there for submit a recommendation. You'll submit that recommendation, I'll upload it, and you'll get an email from me and yours truly saying, thank you, it's up, and I'll send you a little link. Yeah,
you did that for me the other day for like House in the Cerulean Sea. And I was like, oh, that's me on their site. I was like, I like took pictures and was on social media. I was like, that's me.
And then you're as a bookseller from that page, right, that I send you, you'll have the little the link button that's up at the top. It looks like a little chain link, and so that'll add your bookstore link to anywhere you share that link. So when somebody comes to find that book, they'll then, if they then purchase it, that money will go to your bookstore.
That's amazing. That's
Oh,
so,
thank you. And you can do that from
and
any page on Libro.
and like that's, I mean, a sell to sorry, that's a big truck outside.
That's okay.
That's a sell to any bookstore too who's looking for a reason to sign up. If they are, is how can a bookstore reach out to get included in LibroFab?
Just go to books, just send us an email at bookstores@libro.fm. We make the process real quick, and then
And is there any thing a bookstore is like, any like, what's the word for a subscription or something a bookstore needs to do for it?
It's free.
And this is in how, why aren't every bookstore, why is not every bookstore
I don't
doing this
know.
right now?
Tell every
Why
bookstore.
are we should be running to LibroFam in a
Mhm.
virtual way to do this, because it's free, it's easy to sign up. Oh my God,
We can also help you set up a landing page for your website for if somebody wants to click audiobooks, and then they can go to a special page, right, designed for Skylight Books about audiobooks. And
I mean, and I believe Skylight already has that. So go look at our Skylight page. It's fun, but like go look at your local bookstores page, and if they don't have one, go there and tell them what's up. Be like, what's happening?
If your bookstore's not signed up, just let them know, or send us an email and we'll reach out to them for you. So that's like an ongoing process. We're constantly trying to add more bookstores in the US and in Canada. And, you know, as we grow, right, we intend to be able to support more bookstores in more locations, and to support international customers and international bookstores as well. And we hope to have audiobooks in more languages. So
that's amazing. So you guys aren't international yet. You're just
so currently we are international in that you can purchase an audiobook from anywhere. You can buy a gift membership from anywhere. So you can buy a gift membership in support of one of our partner bookstores from anywhere. The only thing that is not available to international customers right now is a monthly membership. But you can if you are gifted an audiobook, you can listen to it from anywhere. And so since you can gift yourself, that's our current sort of workaround, so that you can just purchase that. And those audiobook credits deliver up front. You can do 1, 3, 6, or 12 months. And those audiobook credits will deliver to you immediately. And that's a way that international customers can participate in LibroFM and support local bookstores and listen to audiobooks in a more intentional way right now.
Amazing. And that's you guys have everything. And like I'm seeing no downside from LibroFM. And
I'm really nailing it then.
You're nailing it. You're killing it. They give her a raise, LibroFam. And give her
a company to work for. I think, I don't know that I've worked for a company who like stays so up on its mission, or is making choices based on what will help their community, which in this case is bookstores, right? Bookstores and listeners. So that's, and like,
your team is just so nice. And there's like, I want all the listeners to know this. As a person working on this podcast, this LibroFM team has been one of the nicest people we've worked with for such a small team. And shout out to Albie, who did a lot of help for this. Shout out. Who's been so nice and with helping us. And honestly, look out in the future, we might be having some LibroFM partnerships coming up in our store. This is a little, stink preview promo.
But if you reach out to us, it is like a human team, right? Like if you reach out to us as a bookstore partner, or if you reach out to us as a listener, our support all goes through. And so if you send us an email, you'll hear back from Karen, who's managing our customer support. Or if you are a bookstore and you reach out about, I want a custom landing page, you're going to hear from Nick, who's going to design it for you, right? So yeah, it's a very like personal experience. We want you to succeed. We want to give you the tools to succeed. So whatever we can do, to make that happen, we're an accommodating bunch.
Angels. I swear they're angels. They're all angels. No, so listeners, you have no reason to not be signing up for LibroFM. I don't know why you're not there. Honestly, if you decided to stop this podcast right now and go sign up, I wouldn't be hurt. I would not be hurt at all. And
it's just
mostly because we're almost out of time too. So it works out better.
I am a talker. I warned you I would talk.
I mean, listen, I was there talking with you. This has been such an amazing episode, and honestly, I'm so happy to talk about this service I've known about for so long, and have been just trying to get the word out about it. So this is me telling all the listeners, Libro.fm is worth it, worth every penny.
And we know that word of mouth is central to how, right? Like competition is big, right?
Yeah.
Homeboy's got a lot of money, got a lot of resources. And so, and we
He's
know we're not in space. So.
Libro soon. Libro.fm will be in space.
But we know that those interpersonal conversations, which were challenging during the pandemic, but somehow still happened, right? You know, that person to person, somebody saying like, hey, did you know about this? You can sign up. It's easy. I can refer you, right? Like booksellers and individuals, if you have a membership, you can, and booksellers, even if you can refer customers and earn. So anytime that anytime that an individual or customer starts a membership based on your referral, you'll get a free audiobook credit. So it's our way of saying thank you for spreading the word.
And like, wow, just when you think that they can't give you anymore, they do. And
just keep on giving.
Just keep on giving, you guys. Oh my God, thank you so much for this episode, and just everything that you've told us and giving us, and just taking the time out to like spread the word about this amazing organization that you work for.
Thanks so much for talking to me about it.
No problem. Like, so you're doing this off the clock too, so this is for fun. This is for you. We
just hit 5 p.m. so I feel like we're right on time.
We're right on time. No, do you have any last things you would like to say to the independent bookstore community that's listening right now?
Oh man, just thanks for all you're doing. Thanks for all you continue to do. We know that it's been a rough minute. We hope that everybody's coming through it. But yeah, if there's ever anything that we can do to help, or you have ideas for how Libro can improve or serve you better, just shoot us an email at bookstores@libro.fm. But keep on keeping on. Y'all are doing great.
I love it. They said that we want criticism because we are okay with it, and I love that.
That's our tagline. Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.
That's not our tagline. That's not.
Well, let's pitch it. Let's pitch it to the Libro team.
I'll think of it.
Let's get in the boardroom. I see it as like one of those like glass offices in the law office. I'm like, all right, let's go. We have. And before you go, what audiobook are you listening to right now that you want to shout out?
I told you I just listened to Children of Blood and Bone. Loved it. It also had a stunning author's note. Author's notes can be very fluffy, and this one was, which like people like that's a great thing to do in your author's note too. But this one was very much about, right, like if you connected with these characters and these individuals, then think about where you stand on police brutality, because those people who are facing that are children or fathers or mothers, or so I thought that was cool to have such a sort of like author's note that put its foot down. I also listened to Jasmine Mann's poetry collection, Black Girl Call Home, which Jasmine reads, which is great. Like a voice lends a ton to our whole argument is that like audiobooks actually predate books, right? Because oral storytelling happened before the written word. So
that is true.
It's great to have somebody tell you in their voice. I think up next I might listen to Brandi Carlile's Broken Horses, because she does. There are like within the audiobook there are original songs.
Oh my God! And like, so you have an amazing list of listeners. Recs. These are just free recs right here. We're just giving them to you. So go run to the nearest computer, download Libro.fm, then run to your nearest smartphone, download the app, and get it started. Oh my God, Kelsey, thank you again. This has been so much fun.
I can't thank you enough. This has been great for me.
This is, oh my God, look at this. This is just great. This is all just great.
Into this experience. What a great time we've had.
And let's not forget to thank Hallie for introducing us. Thank you again, Hallie. And thank you to my beautiful
Skylight
listeners. Yeah. Oh no, thank you. And we are just.
What we're saying is that we're thankful. We're feeling abusive. We're thankful.
This is Thanksgiving. This is the new Thanksgiving, not in any way associated with the other one. This is it. It's
All
Libro
positive
Femme.
vibes for this one. Yeah.
All positive vibes.
Yeah.
No, this is great. I don't want this to end. This has been so much fun. But to all my beautiful listeners, we have to go. So you have a great rest of your day, and go out, walk with your dogs. Your dogs are they're barking right now, and they're saying Libro FM.
They're ready.
That's what
They've
they're
had
saying.
enough. Maybe
They've
your
had
cats.
enough.
If you leash your cats, this
Leash
is
your
the moment.
cats. Leash your cat. I saw a cat show the other day. Take him on a walk and listen to Libro FM.
Because you're not going to want to hear all the people getting on to you about walking a cat. So what you're going to want to listen to is a little story. That's Libro.
And that's it. And you're right. And that's true. You guys have a great rest of your day. And thank you for coming back. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to the Skylight Books podcast series. Please don't forget to visit our website at skylightbooks.com and make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast for more author talks and bookseller conversations. You can find us on Podbean, iTunes, and Spotify. Stay safe and healthy, and we hope to see you back in our store soon.